how's it going, everybody? Today I'm just going to be streaming a little bit of the new game that I'm playing. I am playing Path of Exile. I have moved away from Neverwinter for a time just to just take a break. I am a little bit burnt out on Neverwinter currently, but PoE has definitely taken up some of my time here. So we're basically just going to be running through some missions here. Spoiler alert, I'm just going to be running through the basic campaign, so if you haven't played the game and you don't want to know, then I would suggest maybe not watching this stream right now. But if you guys don't care, anything like that, then we'll just hop on into it. I am a Templar using the Freezing Pulse abilities, kind of a conglomeration of abilities of my own, kind of just linking things together, seeing how it goes. This game is very, very, very customizable. It is not like other games that I played in the past, such as Diablo 3 or Neverwinter, where you basically have to run a set build or you're not going to achieve greatness. This game is so customizable that you can do pretty much anything that you want, and as long as you can crank out the DPS, which you basically can do that on your own. You can control that yourself just by ramping up whatever you want to do in your skill tree. Then you can basically run anything that you want to. So let's jump into it here.
Hello to you, great dreamer.
So I'll kind of give you a rundown about what I'm using here. So if you haven't looked at PoE before, you can obviously see how massive this skill tree is. So you could literally spec into anything and everything that you could possibly think of within the game, within the grand spectrum of the game, whether you're going to be a caster, a melee person, whether you're using claws, daggers, axes, maces, two-handed weapons, staves, two-handed axes, two-handed swords, two-handed maces. There's a lot of things that you can do. There's even sword and board stuff. And on top of that, so all of these skill points here, on top of that, you have another set of skill points, which these are called your ascendancy points, which are a little bit harder to get, that then further beast mode your character, as you will. But other than that, I'm basically running Freezing Pulse with kind of a mixture of other abilities that I've kind of just been using until I can get up to a high enough level to be running maps and completing the game, or at least the campaign, and effectively getting the gear to round out this build to really make it what I want it to be. I started off basing this build off of the PoE builds Freezing Pulse build, but now that this is actually my third character, but it's just my most enjoyable to play at the time, I've kind of started expanding on my own. I didn't start out making builds. I had no idea where to even start with this game. So I looked up some builds, just kind of ran as a pilot for a little bit, just to see how everything works, just to see how the mechanic of the game works, how you link gems together, all that stuff. So I became a pilot, but now I am starting to do some customization things where you guys are used to. You know, you guys are used to seeing me creating builds, making builds on Neverwinter. I plan on doing the same thing here. It's just a matter of taking what works best for me. Obviously, it may not work the best for everybody else, but for the play style that I like to play, and it kind of differs per class of which play style I like to play. Like this class, as you can see, is obviously I got smashed. Is obviously a caster class. But you're kind of right at melee range. And the reason I got squished is because I had none of my abilities up because I got too busy talking. So basically this is a map, and you've got these portals. If you die so many times and you run out of portals, you basically can't get back into the map. So you have to complete it within a certain amount of deaths, which I probably wouldn't have died there if I would have actually had everything up that's supposed to be up. See, now everything's working great. Just got too busy talking. So excited to be back making some videos, streaming for you guys. I took a little bit of a break just to kind of learn the game a little bit. Like I said before, I'm moving away from Neverwinter just for a time. They've kind of got to earn me something back. I haven't been super impressed with everything that's been going on with Neverwinter lately, especially in regards to the characters that I play. And I just kind of got tired of every time they come out with a new mod, having to basically take my characters back to formula because they ruin them. And because I do not play a great weapon fighter, it is just too mind-numbing for me. I have a great weapon fighter, and I've made builds for great weapon fighters, but it is just not my favorite to play. They do hellacious DPS, but they just standing there and swinging my sword is not that big of a deal, not that enticing to me. Control wizards and paladins, if they haven't already in mod 12 and mod 12b, the plan was to basically make them you're gonna have to work a lot harder to do anything that you want to do in that game, and on those two particular characters, which those are the two main characters that I play. So I figured I'd give PoE a shot, still kind of staying in the MMORPG range scope of games. I've also downloaded Fortnite, if you guys are playing that beta. It's pretty interesting. It's a fun concept to a game, just not I don't know, I'm not particularly into first-person shooters anymore. I used to play a lot of COD 4, but pretty much since then, haven't had a whole lot of desire to play first-person shooters. Still play pretty well. First game that I played on Fortnite, I placed like number 6. If you guys know what Fortnite is, I placed 6th in duos. So that means we were in like the top 12 people. The basic premise of Fortnite is in the PvP mode, 100 people drop into a map, and you're trying to be the last one alive. And there's duos, there's squads, there's singles. So I normally run duos with me and my buddy Bladaga. You guys all know Bladaga if you watch any of my videos or my streams. We played a little bit of Fortnite. Our first game together we placed 6th, so we were in the top 6 of the duos. So first-person shooters are nice, still halfway decent at them, just not my cup of tea anymore. They just don't hold my attention quite like story-based RPGs do. And this is definitely, Path of Exile is definitely a story-based game, but at the end it is also a grindy game, which it's actually been kind of an enjoyable grind. Doing some of the advancing higher level content on one of my other characters, which I have a level 74 duelist, which is a cyclone duelist. So basically I'm Garen, spin to win, if you guys know Garen from League of Legends. But with that, I am slightly squishy, but not too much. It's just kind of that perfect balance of high octane offense and a little bit of defense and evasion. With that, it's been fun getting new items. The item items in this game, especially the unique items, are just phenomenal. They did some amazing work on making a lot of custom unique items for this game that are just out of this world. Like they're so crazy in some of the things that they do, super creative in just how they made the whole system work. I'm thoroughly impressed. I feel like this should have been the way that Diablo 3 was. I feel like they kind of missed the mark moving from D2 to Diablo 3. I didn't really feel like that before I played this game. I was kind of like, oh, Diablo 3, you know, that's kind of my jam. I like that game, just because I played it since vanilla on PC. But now playing this game, it's like, yeah, they really missed the mark for a top-down RPG MMO style game. They really kind of just missed the mark, I feel like. Also, it's just a matter of time. I mean, maybe they didn't have the resources that they had for this game in this year, but in my mind, this game is what Diablo 3 could have and should have been. But with that, it's just one of those things that makes it really fun. A lot of customization, a lot of gear, a lot of skill gems, lots of unique, crazy monster combinations. I mean, it's really a fun game. And if you guys follow me on YouTube or follow me here on Twitch or on Twitter, I know I've been quiet the last month or so. I've been in a real life change of life. I have moved and everything that goes along with that, and working a full-time job. So game time has been a little bit reduced, but now I have got very good internet, where I had okay internet before when I was previously streaming, but now I have made the jump to get some much better internet. But on top of that, just really wanted to take a break from making videos, just so that I could learn this game, so I wasn't coming at it from a complete standpoint of ignorance, and then showing you guys how much I didn't know about the game. I know that you guys often look for me in my videos to be highly informational, having a lot of knowledge base, which I just did not have to start the game. I knew absolutely nothing about the game, and I want to thank a lot of the people on Facebook. There are some great communities for these games out there on Facebook. You just got to find them. I've been asking a lot of questions. I am by no means a master of this game. Like I said, I'm just starting to get to the point where I feel comfortable enough to make my own customizations. But running these builds, being a pilot to these builds, has been super, super fun. It has been a really interesting game. And I've just been trying to over level when it comes to my characters. My first character, I kind of just rushed through it to beat the game really, really fast, which I would not recommend. This game is brutal, especially once you move to Act 2, the second part of the game. It's brutal, and it you reduce your resistances to the elements, so if they're hitting you with fire, like, you're taking increased damage, so you just can't defend yourself as well, and the monsters just get significantly harder when you move to the second act. But other than that, it's just a really fun game, but it is hard. It's basically, the only way that I can describe it is the Dark Souls version of Diablo 3. Well, actually, I would say Diablo 2, because Diablo 3 is just a whole different game in itself. But other than that, it's super fun. I really enjoy this game, but do not try to rush through this game. You will sorely regret it. So I tried to make it as high as I could possibly go, before even moving to Act 2, just because I knew that once Act 2 started, it was going to reduce my resistances, things were going to get significantly harder, but this build has kind of been a breeze, so to speak. Not to make a play on words about the build or anything like that with Freezing Pulse, but it has been a fun, easy to play build that I have greatly enjoyed. It's got some range, it does a lot of things really, really well, which is the main thing that I enjoy, is that you can do, you guys know me from Neverwinter wanting to do basically everything. You know, with every build that I do, I want to be able to solo, I want to be able to team, I want to be able to deal the damage, I want to be able to be a support, I want to be able to do whatever the team needs me to do. And this game has definitely kind of pushed the bounds of that. The only thing that I've really seen that's been hard for, at least for my buddy Bladaga, who also plays this game, he's trying to make a tank, a sword and board tank, but it has proven to be a kind of daunting task. As usual, him and I have spent a lot of time, have spent a lot of time going over skills, feats, things like that, trying to get him to where he needs to be and where he wants to be for his sword and board build as a tank. And he's getting there. He's getting to the point where he's actually able to deal decent damage, but he just doesn't die, which is the main purpose of a tank. So, and like I said, so you guys have seen me die twice in 17 minutes. Like I said, this game is not easy. It's a challenge for sure. In regards to this game, a lot of it is player error. Other than there are times where you just get caught. You know, you're running on a mob, you didn't realize that they were like Freezing Pulse or Frost Nova or something like that, and you get frozen, then you just get jacked up, which even still you can knot up as user error. In that fight right there that you guys just saw, I was having to use health potions a lot, and I ended up kind of just running out and getting caught by his beam, and trying to remember the mechanics of all these boss fights has been really fun. Like I said, I have a couple other tunes that I've already gone through this bit, but trying to get him to where I can basically just say, oh, I know exactly what he's going to do, when and where. That just hasn't happened yet. I haven't memorized everything in this game, but trying to figure it out slowly here, just making sure that I progress through the game, become more knowledgeable just for you guys, so that you guys can obviously use me, take me for my word. I'm not going to try to lead you astray, and I'm also not going to claim any of the stuff that I've been doing as my own, just because you guys know, as I have said, I am just a pilot currently, not making anything completely custom as of yet. And there you go, we got a unique helmet, so we will reveal it together.
Our brutal construction.
That's an interesting helmet. I might have to save that one. That's a really nice helmet, actually. I'll have to roll some more sockets into that and get it to the color that I need and use it. That's I really like that helmet, actually. That is super nice. So some of the things that make this game really interesting and fun to play is the fact of there are crafting abilities, so kind of just like most of the other MMOs that we play. You know, whether it's Neverwinter is kind of limited on the crafting, but there are other games where you can certainly craft a whole lot more. But in this game, there are some crafting where you can take items and then upgrade them, like actually choose some of the things that you put on there. And it's just been a really fun game to learn the processes and make sure that you're running the optimal gear has been the biggest thing. Unlike games in the past that you can basically just stay in your low level gear until you get up to end game level, that's not gonna work. That you have to progress through this game. You have to pick up the gear. You have to be able to do anything and everything, or with the new gear that you're getting from the drops, or whether you're trying to craft it or what have you, there is absolutely no way that you could stay in your low level gear and still be effective.
Unfortunately, from what I can
What you tell? I have asked this.
So there's really no point to this stream, to this video. There's no focus, I guess I would say, not necessarily a point. There's just no focus per se. I'm just kind of giving you like a general, my feelings on the game, showing you a little bit of the gameplay, showing you what I'm doing with one of my tunes here. But other than that, I mean, this game has surpassed my expectations like astronomically. I did not expect this game to be this good. When I heard about it, I was kind of like, you know, it could be okay. And I also didn't realize that it's been out on PC for like 4 years or something. I didn't realize it had been out that long. So that's just one of the things about this game. I mean, it's thoroughly impressing me, keeping me on my toes, and making a otherwise like pretty sandbox run of the mill, like as most MMOs are. They kind of just get like, everyone seems like it's the same thing. This one has definitely flipped the switch on that, and made some pretty cool leaps and bounds above other games. So you can see this is all kind of crafting materials and some map materials mixed in. So you can upgrade your armor. So how you see it says like quality plus 20% up there at the top. So you can upgrade your armor in that respect, which I need to do to my gloves. So basically you just grab the armor thing and then just hit X until it says 20, as long as you've got enough of the armor things. And you get rings, you get amulets, you get belts, health potions, just kind of like in Diablo 2 that you have to actually equip to your belt. I can upgrade my chest piece as well. I'm kind of slacking on this character, guys. I'm sorry. Didn't have everything maxed out like I'm supposed to. Just making sure it's all level or up to 20 quality, just so that you get the maximum out of your gear while you're using it. And some of the big currencies, Exalted Orbs and Chaos Orbs, those come at a premium. And they are the basic, the most widely used currency here in the game. They do have properties that they can do, like this one enchants a rare item with a new random property, but most people just use these as currency, so to speak, until you get super high level where you're running like Uber Labs or things like that, where you like are trying to min max. To someone like me, Exalted Orbs aren't really doing anything except for currency. They're allowing me to buy the gear that I need to get to that point. But other than that, it's basically just Chaos Orbs and somewhat Exalted Orbs. This is only like the second Exalted Orb I've ever had, I believe. The other one I either sold before I knew what it was, or I used it to pay for something that I obviously, again, didn't know what it was. If I would have known that it was an Exalted Orb and what Exalted Orbs were at the time, it would not have left my inventory. But, alas, I can't really take it back now, so... and just trying to keep everything organized. One thing about this game, unlike Neverwinter, where my tabs or my bags in Neverwinter were all kind of mismatched and hodgepodge, I'm trying to not do that in this game, just because there are so many things that you may have to potentially find. Like, all of these gems could potentially be used at some point, so that's just one of the things. It's like you definitely want to have them in a proper order, or at least somewhat organized, so you know how to find them. And so basically all I've been doing is color coding, except obviously you can see I have a couple blues and greens there on the right hand side, but that's just because I had some overflow until I got so full that I was like, I'm just gonna make a couple other characters and move some of the skill gems and stuff over there that they may use to those characters so that they have them, and just to free up some stash space. So other than that, it's been pretty easy, pretty fun. There were definitely some growing pains when I first started the game, especially not knowing how to play it, and just thinking that I could start off with a Uber Lab farming build, you know, so it's super high end, and start off with that straight off the bat. No, you can't do that, because certain skilled gems require levels. So like this one, it's a level 1 gem, but it requires level 31 to use. So obviously as a level 1 or level 2, level 3, all the way up to 30, you can't use it just because I'm not a high enough level to be able to use that gem. There are some others that, and you get gems as you go through the game, that you get from quest rewards and things like that can help you, but a lot of those are kind of just moot. Like, they're kind of just fluff, as if you can kind of track my meaning on that. Really, it's basically just there are specific gems that you find that are from drops. One that is from drops in particular that pretty much everyone and their mom wants, but it is a super rare drop, which I'm still looking for. I'd rather find it than pay for it, but it's almost getting to the point where I may have to pay for it through the in-game currency of whether I have to pay Exalted Orbs or Chaos Orbs or what have you to get that gem. But, and the fun thing about this game, it's a free game. I've literally only spent $5 just to open up these trade tabs. And all that did for me was make it so that all these uniques that I'm getting, I can put up on the trade bar or on the trade board and be able to sell them, so that I can get more currency. So I have quite a few unique items here that I am potentially trying to sell, and some others that I'm trying to hold on to, like these here, trying to hold on to these. Some of them I'm holding for some of my buddies, because I know what builds they're going for and things like that. But other than that, it's basically just trading, trying to make some currency, having fun in the game, doing some fun stuff like that. But what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna switch to my duelist, and I will show you guys some maps, just so that you can kind of get a general malaise of what I'm doing here on these builds in this game. I'm probably going to go quiet for a little bit when it goes into the map, just because some of it is kind of white knuckle. and I may need to focus, so if I get caught monologuing, I will probably die often. And just like with the map that we ran through, you will have to, you only have a certain amount of attempts to be able to go through the map. So I'll switch to my duelist here. It is the Cyclone Duelist, level 74. And we will run through a, most likely I think it's a tier 4 map is the one that I have in my inventory currently. But it is a gold, so it's a rare tier 4 map. So it has increased chance to drop items, and the monsters hit a lot harder. So I'll show you here really quick. So this Anguish Trap Graveyard map. Area is inhabited by 2 additional rogue exiles, which sucks because they're basically characters like me that do their own abilities, and they can hurt really, really bad. Players have elemental equilibrium, which is nice. That means that all of our well, that can be nice. That means that our elemental resistances are stabilized, so they're not you're not at a detriment. Monsters have 45% increased area of effect, 20% monster physical damage reduction, and monsters deal 63% extra damage as fire, which isn't that big of a deal because my elemental resistances are halfway decent. They're not super high, but my evasion is really, really high. So evasion basically means that I don't get hit very often. And so here's kind of my skill tree, what I've been mapping, what I've been pathing. This is 100% the Cyclone build off of PoE builds, because this was my first tune. I have started just now starting to customize, like I said, on my Templar, just because there are some things that I didn't really understand why they took it. And there's just no explanation in the build. It's basically just showing you the tree and going through putting points in places, and so I didn't really understand why they put things where, but I have started putting my own points in places. So effectively this is the PoE build, but basically from here on out I am not using the build as a reference anymore. I am going off of kind of the direction that I want to go with some of these things. So alrighty, I am gonna go quiet here and I will show you how we run this, or how I try to run this map.
Do this just yet.
And as you can see, like I said, these maps do tend to hurt, and the bad thing about that situation right there is lightning damage has the potential to shock you which if you are shocked, you take 50% increased damage. So that's why you kind of just saw me go from doing just fine to getting shocked to my health just disappearing.
Spirit is spent.
And for some reason you will find that you just don't hit at random times, which is super obnoxious, really makes me angry. But there's just nothing you can do about it. You have to try and move or reset your positioning so that you can actually be doing damage. So the basic premise of these maps is there will be a set number of monsters in the map, which you can clear for, basically clearing them just increases your amount of, a higher chance to get good loot. But there, like in this arena door right here, there will be a boss of the map, which I normally clear the map first,
Exile.
just to potentially get good loot, level up, things like that, become a little bit stronger, get everything that I need to out of the map before it goes away, or before I go to fight the boss. And I just talked to her on accident in the middle of combat, so she opened up another map basically inside of this map, which I will go do after I kill the boss and all that stuff. A lot of the abilities that I'm using are basically just to buff me even further. They're really not like an attack skill or anything like that. Like this leap slam that I'm doing doesn't deal a whole lot of damage, but it does potentially stun the enemy, which if I stun an enemy, it will give me a endurance charge, which helps me defensively. Endurance charges will be consumed by one of the skills that I'm using in my helmet, which basically makes me invulnerable for a certain amount of seconds based off of how many endurance charges I consumed. And then this other one, like that shout that I just did, increases my damage and my like Leech Leaf, Mana Leech, all that kind of stuff, just to make sustain of the build and sustain in the map a little bit better. As you can see, I am full on items. I can actually get rid of that. I don't need that.
I believe in traveling light.
No, can't grab that. Let's see here. So anything with a border around the outside gives you increased value. So if you were to sell these green ones to a vendor, you would get chromatic orbs, which are very much a necessity. And if you find red ones or orange, they will give you jeweler's orbs, which are also a necessity in this game. So my damage has kind of skyrocketed in the last day or so. I'm spec'd into sword damage, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but I was using a two-handed axe up until yesterday, and my damage was okay. I was doing fine, but even though this sword deals less damage as a weapon, as a whole I deal more damage just because I have skill points put into increasing my damage with swords. So these tier 4 maps, which is basically what we're running right now, used to kind of be a challenge because it would take me a little bit to kill everything. But now, as you can see, it doesn't take that long at all. The only thing that really is the issue is like kind of what I already just explained of getting caught in a situation where that guy had shock. I didn't realize that he had shock, which there's really no way to tell on the Xbox beforehand because you have to get so close to enemies to be able to target them. On the PC, you can kind of mouse around it and then be able to be out of range and read what the actual monster's enchantments are. But just like most MMOs like Diablo, Neverwinter, anything like that, the PC versions, your builds are going to be higher optimized just because you have so much more spot placement, better spot placement in regards to that. And your mobility is going to be a lot easier because you can actually point and click to where you're going to be moving to. So this boss is a pain, but I have found a trick. If you hide behind this pillar when he's ready to do his AoE attack, you can kind of just skirt him around this pillar until he is right there. He did his AoE attack. And I'm throwing out a totem, which is the Ancestral Warchief, which deals a buttload of damage. And so he did his AoE ability there, and that hurt. Yep, yes it did. So you can kind of just dip and dive around this pillar to make sure that you stay alive. Because his AoE attack does hurt a lot. Ooh, we got a blue tier 3 map, which isn't terrible, and we got a simple robe
I believe in traveling light.
that I cannot pick up right now. So, since I killed the boss, I'm going to open a portal to go back home and go sell some things. Then I will come back and run through the map and pick up the things that I wasn't able to pick up. All the things that had borders on them, things like that. And then I will run through that map inside of a map that I opened up was Zava or Zara or whatever her name may be. I don't remember off the top of my head. Kind of went on autopilot there. I was just making sure that I didn't have any any uniques or anything like that that I was potentially going to throw away on accident. And just trying to unload my inventory here. I don't pick up every skill gem anymore because obviously, as you can see, I have a hoarding problem. That I have duplicates upon duplicates of everything in this game. Well, not everything, of a lot of things in this game. And because of that, you run out of space very quickly. So I kind of, unless it says like it's a superior, it's one that don't really remember picking up before, I definitely don't pick it up just because I don't need a bunch of extras laying around. Or if it's one that I know most builds use a lot of the same gems. Just in regards to especially some of the defensive gems. So it's just one of those things that you kind of just keep collecting those gems because you just never know when you're going to need them, when you're potentially going to use them. So now it's just a matter of remembering where some of the items were. There's this one here. I thought there was... here we are. Perfect. I think that was pretty much it. So now I will go and run through this map within a map. See what happens. So if you use your map overlay, it will show you the level range of the monsters, how many monsters are left. So as you can see in the top right, it says Underground River, monster level 71, more than 50 monsters remain. So I don't really know, find the map item. Don't really know exactly what that means per se, but I will just try to kill everything in here just like it was a normal map. And I pick up wisdom and portal scrolls because you can trade those in for other currencies. And it's something that's simple. They stack, so it's not like they constantly take up, each one takes up one slot of inventory. It's not like that. They stack up to 40. And then usually once I get a couple full stacks, I will trade them in, upgrade them for the higher currency. Those ranged poison shooter guys used to be the bane to my existence. They would kill me more often than anything else in this game, but now luckily I can at least cover the distance and get to them quickly enough to kill them, because they used to be so fast, like they used to be able to outrun me. So they would just like shoot at me and then they'd run away, and then they'd shoot at me and then they'd run away, and just me trying to chase them and kill them to catch up, or to catch up with them and then kill them, I would be dying. Just because I didn't have some of the mobility, the movement speed increases, or the like the leap slam ability that I have here, which helps out quite a lot. And there are times like this where I'm kind of just wading through these guys that I don't even use all of my buffs just because I don't necessarily need to. I'm dealing enough damage that I don't really have to buff up and waste the time. Not that it takes a whole lot of time, but it's just not really necessary. See, look at that. If I wouldn't have come in here, I might not have gotten that axe. I was actually contemplating not coming in here, but I guess that makes it a little bit worth it now, doesn't it? And the good thing about that shout is that as long as I am killing things, the buff keeps getting refreshed. So it's got like an 11-second timer. So like I just killed those guys with 2 seconds left, so it went back up to 11 seconds. Just as long as I keep killing things, the buff keeps getting refreshed. But it's just these long transition times that can be not fun, which is why that leap slam comes really in handy, because I can jump onto targets unless I misclick, kind of like I did there. I can basically just run from mob to mob, and it gives me a little bit of a speed boost as well once you've killed a certain amount, so that's always nice. That helps you definitely move from mob to mob much faster. Let's see, 14 monsters remain. Where are the last 14 monsters? 9 monsters remain. Ooh, this guy is stunning me like no man's business. Wowzers. Superior Orb of Storms, nice. I will take that because my Templar uses that. And these, I haven't quite really figured out what the yellow border means. I think it just gives you an increased amount of materials when you turn it in. I haven't really figured out what exactly it means. It says 9 monsters remain still. That's weird.
Can't do this just yet.
And bosses like these are always really nice because when they spawn ads, that makes me, when I kill things, it replenishes your potions. So when they spawn ads like that, and especially with having to use my potions, basically you're just giving me free potions back when you spawn ads because I'm just going to kill everything. So it says 0 monsters remain down there at the bottom, so that means we are done. But I don't know if I take a portal out of here, if it'll take me just back out into the original map, or if it will take me back home, which I will need to talk to her in the original map to complete this little side quest. So that wasn't that far of a run, so I'll just scamper back on through here, open up any chests or anything that I missed. I've actually gotten unique items out of chests before, so for people that may think, oh, you know, opening chests, blah, 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 or even just breaking things like urns or baskets or crates, I have gotten unique items out of crates and baskets too. So I would say break everything. Just like we used to in, you know, early stages of Morrowind, anything like that, like Elder Scrolls series. you break everything, you look in everything, because you never know what is going to be inside a measly little barrel, a crate, anything like that. You could find really great loot in those. And I like that you can jump over obstacles, kind of like that, when you have leap slam. So that's kind of fun. And I realize probably as a viewer, me having my map up over my screen like this makes it really hard to see what I'm doing. Which it's really hard for me to see what I'm doing, but basically I just know that if I'm spinning, if I continue to spin, I should be fine unless I get caught like we saw earlier. But I will try to refrain from doing that so much. Alrighty, we will talk to Zana here. Thank you. Complete that mission. And now we can hop, skip, and jump out of here. Actually, we will do the reveal here really quick. 1,000 ribbons, simple robe. Wow. That is quite the robe. That is really interesting. That would be great in tandem with another weapon, like if you were dual wielding. If you guys ever thinking about it, this would be a great weapon to have as your offhand for dual wielding. Just because it may not have a whole lot of physical damage, but your elemental damage is very, very high, especially for a one-hand. And if you just read like those last 3 lines, enemies chilled by you take 100% increased burning damage, 25% chance to ignite when in the main hand, and you chill enemies for 1 second on hit when it's in your offhand. So if you had this in your offhand, you were basically going to be dealing 100% increased burning damage constantly. So that's a pretty nice little axe there, especially for your offhand. If you had if you use this in your main hand and you were using cold abilities, it would be really, really good as well. But I might actually keep that for my buddy Bladaga, because he is running axes, so to speak, I believe. I think that's what he is spec'd into for his damage for his weapons, is axes, so I might see what he thinks about that. And other than that, guys, I think I am pretty much done here. Stay tuned for more content. I am going to be streaming more regularly. I am trying to definitely play every night, and even if I'm just running and putzing around, I'll try and stream with you guys. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, you can always drop me a line. I have actually have my Twitch stream up right now, so if you guys had any questions, you can leave comments in the chat room. You can always hit me up on YouTube. My YouTube channel is linked on my Twitch account here, and if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, have questions about Neverwinter, Diablo 3, anything like that, feel free to hit me up. But just be sure to stay tuned for more content, especially from this game. This game is what's taking my time right now. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.